we're gonna start with draft, and then we're gonna do some VODs. And then we're gonna do some VODs and playstyle. Let me open up Google Docs. La la la. So you do love us? No, I fucking hate you all. You're all annoying. You're all annoying. Let me open up a Google Doc. Yeah, I'll show chat. Will you upload the analysis? Yeah, I'll put it on YouTube probably. I'll put it on YouTube. What am I looking at? T1 versus who the fuck they play against? JDG. All right. We're gonna do bans, locked bans.
Let's go, man.
I fucking hate, and I feel like using Google Sheets. Let me get all this stuff up, and then we'll come to a conclusion. But I think the conclusion that I use will be completely unbiased. I'm not gonna be a rat.
A whole year of Twitch Prime to Caedrel XDD.
I'm not gonna be a rat about it.
Pog, let's go, man.
Okay. Okay. So, Weibo's on blue side, actually. Wait. We're gonna do a little bit of draft talk, and then we'll do some other talk.
Pog,
let's
go, man.
T1. So the first thing,
fellow rat.
draft-wise, about T1 is T1's champion pool at this international is a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger, I think. And even if they haven't shown certain picks, I think they are more than happy to go deep into those picks. Wait, let me just... Can you wait till my food arrives? No. Okay, there we go. Alright. So, T1, obviously, I mean, I think it's no shocker to anyone how big their champion pool is. I guess you can argue Faker's is small. And what happened with Faker was very interesting. If you look at what Faker did at summer playoffs, now, bear in mind he had the wrist injury. Faker was very neutered, and the reason that Faker played so many champions in the playoffs was because he got target banned a lot in the playoffs. What do I mean by that? Well, he was one-tricking Azir and one-tricking Nico, and the reason he has so many random games on one champ here and there is because he's perma-banned out. So I think the reason, I was speaking to a few people actually in T1, and they were saying, like, obviously what happened was Faker got injured, and when he came back and he had 2 weeks to prepare for playoffs, he basically stuck to a very small champion pool. And that champion pool was basically Azir, Nico, and Jace, and everything else was just out. Orianna wasn't meta then. So if you look at his worlds, he's only really playing Azir Orianna, and he's played 2 games of Sylas. I think Xiaohu... The thing is, the difference between Weibo and JDG, the main difference is Xiaohu plays Azir, and Knight doesn't play Azir. So Orianna Azir will be contested, and it will be very likely that... it's very likely that there will be a fight over Azir, especially if Orianna's banned. And then it's just a case of like Nico being next in priority. Both mid laners have the exact same champ pool, basically. Whereas the difference between Knight was just basically there was no Syndra for Faker, there was no Azir for Knight. He hasn't played it all year. I mean, Knight's all-time Azir is what? 13 games. He hasn't played it this year or last year, I think. Oh, he played 4 games last year. So yeah, that was the benefit T1 had against JDG. So Weibo at this tournament, I think overall have shown a little bit less. I mean, you can see it mainly in like the support role, I guess. Carrier can just play like whatever the fuck he wants. And T1 have been like indexing in really heavy. I mean, you can look at like these numbers, but don't look at these numbers too much because both teams have been playing different amount of games. So don't like they've played 12, they've played 16, right? So don't look at the numbers. But in terms of raw variety, I think T1 has more ready, and it mostly comes from bot lane. I mean, look at this. They can play Varus lanes, and Varus... They can play Ashe lanes, Kai'Sa lanes, Xayah lanes, Jinx lanes, Nilah lanes, Jhin lanes, Caitlyn lanes, Kalista lanes. They can play... Gumayusi can play Senna. Keria can play Senna. They can flex Caitlyn. They can flex Ashe. They can flex Varus support as well, which they've done before. They can flex everything. So the biggest hole that I think Weibo has in draft is obviously in bot lane, where I think if you actually look at the series they played against BLG, people look at this series and they're like, Light and Crisp got gapped. Light and Crisp got gapped after game 1, because game 1 they did really well. And you can, I agree, but the reason they got gapped was because their bot matchups were fucking dog shit. Their bot matchups were terrible. They're playing Caitlyn Lux blind into Varus Ashe, and they got perma pushed in, and they lost lane, and they couldn't play the game because they're playing Caitlyn in the tower. Then they smartly took away the Varus Ashe. That was layer 1, where they're like, actually, Ashe is broken. Game 3, they first pick Ashe support. We think Ashe is OP. This game, even though they played Ashe support and they won, they got blasted in lane. Because I think Weibo was just like behind the meta for bot matchups. Because in game 2, they got fucked by Ashe, and then they thought, oh, actually, maybe Ashe is broken. Let's go blue side. In this game, they first picked Ashe. And even though they won the game, because the Shy was gapping top super hard, if you actually watch it, they were under their tower, and they were sweating, and they couldn't call for jungle. You can see they're already down 15 CS. It was brutal down there. So BLG's answer to Ashe first pick was Caitlyn support to get the push. So then you go to the next game, and then they think, we'll play Heimerdinger bot. BLG, Weibo then think, we'll play Heimerdinger bot, and then we can get the push, and then surely everything will be fine, right? No. What ends up happening? Billy have another good response. First it was the Ashe Deluxe, then it was the Caitlyn to Ashe, and now they've got Bard for Heimerdinger. So what happened with the Bard Heimerdinger? My man Crisp was level 4 at fucking 10 minutes running around, level 4 at 12 minutes, and he's completely griefing the game. He's completely useless. Why? Because he realized, if I play Ashe Heimerdinger bot and Aphelios farms on the tower, while my Quinn top can't lane because Bard is perma-fogging topside, then we're going to lose the game. So I have to roam on Heimerdinger to match. So 3 games in a row, BLG outdraft them in bot lane. Game 5 was better, because then they thought, we're going to play Kalista Renata, and for some reason, Billy went Caitlyn Lux instead of going for an Ashe lane, which was banned later on 4-5, which was really surprising to me. But I think Weibo were really tested in bot side, and Crisp, I think, is a really, really good range support player. So if it comes toe-to-toe in bot matchups, there's a very likely scenario where it's the same as the BLG series. They just get gapped. They just pick a bot lane support, and Carrier has a response instantly. No matter what you've got, he will play anything into you. He will play anything and everything, bot, just to fuck the lane. I mean, look what this guy's played this year. This is IS support, by the way, doesn't count. He's played Twitch support, Varus support, Jhin support, Senna support, Caitlyn support, Kalista support, Ashe support. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Varus support. I wouldn't. The thing that surprised me a little bit, just to stay on bot lane a little bit, was what was the game that Gumayushi was playing Kalista? Yeah, this game. So this game where Faker clutched it, I was surprised to see that Gumayushi was playing Kalista with heal against Varus Ashe Renekton. That surprised me. I mean, to his respect, he dodged a lot of arrows and he flashed out of a lot of arrows. But I wonder if that was a mistake or not. That was really crazy to do, because they didn't even build any QSS or anything like that till later on. But I guess it's because what happens is in bot lane, level 1, you'll see bot laners trade, and they'll use heal just to win the trade so they can get the push, because it's so worth it. So what's gonna happen in the game states? I'm not sure. It's very hard to predict what will happen around bot, but you can make some safe assumptions. I think Weibo can do a very similar thing to what JDG did. Well, let's bring up the JDG games, actually. Because JDG learned the hard way against T1. And JDG pushed T1 a little bit in draft. So you know how Billy pushed Weibo in bot lane in draft? That'll help T1 a lot for scouting. Mostly through bot is where T1 will probably look. But in this series, they learned a few things. 1, Rumble has to be permabanned. And 2, they can't match Azir Orianna. They can only match Orianna Azir. That was the two biggest weaknesses for JDG. But the problem is for them is the good news for Weibo is Weibo can play Rumble and Weibo can play Azir. So those two weaknesses are covered off. So number 1, is Rumble banned? Does Weibo ban Rumble? I'm not sure. I thought going into the JDG series they'll insta-ban it. But no, 369 said I can play it. And he couldn't play it. Zeus's Aatrox was like good. But what do they do about Rumble? Now, I think Weibo, best bet after Worlds so far is that champ is banned on both sides. I don't care if they're blue, I don't care if they're red, I don't care if they're fucking green. Ban Rel. That champ for Owner has been unreal. Owner's Rel has been like insane. I don't know what his win rate on it, but every time I see this guy on Rel, he's popping up. Okay, 100%. The thing that surprises me the most and annoys me the most about Owner's Rel is he steals every objective. Now that might sound really baseline, but if you actually watch 90% of his dragon fights on Rel, that Rel Q smite is absurd. It is absurd. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Rel ban. It wouldn't surprise me unless Weiwei thinks like, I can pick it away, which fair enough. So Rel, Rumble are the two biggest picks, I think, for this series, because, I mean, Weiwei's playing it, right? So they can either ban it on blue or red, or they can first pick it on red. Same goes for Rumble. So I'll put these champs here for now. Rel, Rumble. Does Weibo ban them, or do they threaten the first pick? If you're threatening a first pick on blue side, which they are. Oh yeah, Poppy. Yeah, good call. Poppy is dependent though, so we'll leave that over here. So what does that free up for Weibo? That frees up Caitlyn a little bit, which I think, I don't know if I should repeat myself about the Caitlyn ban, but I've spoken about it a lot, this Caitlyn ban against T1. It's very common. It's a very common ban against T1, because what you're doing is, if I say Rel, Rumble, Jarvan, Poppy, right, are the three like picks to look at, how do you dissect that? Because 3 of them are junglers, and you're not banning 3 junglers. Maybe you can ban Jarvan, look for Rel first pick. Very, very easy, right? That's like an easy idea if they ban Rumble. But a lot of these bans from Weibo, you can see they aren't easy. They really aren't easy, because you know T1 can play everything. So it's a case of like, how do I describe this? It's a case of like, pick your poison, because you're never going to get something good. You can't afford to ban, if you're Weibo, Rel, Jarvan, Poppy. That's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. You've got too many things to worry about. You've got to worry about Rumble first pick. You've got to worry about Orena first pick. You've got to worry about bot matchup. Maybe Caitlyn's open for T1. Renata's open. Rakan's open for Xayah Rakan. There's too much dog shit open. You can't allow it. So they need to figure out what their jungle tier list is and what their first pick idea is. Yeah, Nico's open, Azir's open, doesn't matter. Check Owner's solo queue account. Which one? Where's Owner? Is it this one? Where's Owner? I swear I had Owner up here. This is Carrier. What's his name in solo queue? What's his name in solo queue?
Ready to take a fight. Flash over. Just canceled. Wait, Caedrel just canceled it.
Oh, let's check it quickly. Then we'll go back. Ah, he's spamming Wukong. That champ, I think I've been saying it. It can be really broken. It can be super OP. It can be super OP. So, where was I? How is Crisp's Rakan, by the way? Actually, my brain doesn't tell me how good Crisp Rakan is. Okay, he's most played Rakan. So what does T1 ban on red side? What were they banning against JDG on red side? On red side against JDG, they were banning Rakan, Nico, Jarvan. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I am not surprised. Missing Rakan is insane, so they could maybe drop that ban. Nico is still a... So we can say soft... We can soft lock a Nico here. 1 sec. I think T1 banning Nico on red side is fine. I mean, Xiaohu's Nico is... I think it's one of his best champs. Yeah. Xiaohu Nico is to say is really good. I think he's played at Worlds. He's happy playing Nico. If they don't like Nico on red side against Knight, I don't think they'll like Nico on red side against Xiaohu. That could be something that carries across. And then, for example, if they were to ban Jarvan, and that frees up the jungle pool a bit, then... Wait, how many teams... Did JDG ban Poppy against T1 every game? Poppy ban on blue, red. Poppy ban on blue. Poppy ban on red. Wow, they perma-ban Poppy every game? I mean, owner Poppy is good, but... Weiwei Poppy is mental. Well, we'll get to game talk a little bit later, but... The thing I noticed about Weiwei Poppy is he wastes a lot of time. And if you waste time against owner, that can be really dangerous. Yeah, they banned Poppy every game. T1 banned Rakan, Nico, Kalista. Rakan, Nico, Jarvan. Rakan, Nico, Jarvan. Rakan, Nico, Jarvan. Was Kanavi just... Rakan, Nico, Jarvan. I don't think they're banning Jarvan against Weiwei. I think the Jarvan ban is gone. I think Weibo's priorities are... The thing is, okay, so here's my take. Some bans can be something you guess, right? I think Weibo's banning Orianna on both sides. Might sound crazy, but I think Weibo's banning Orianna on both sides. And their prio picks are Azirel, always. And then their bot lane will be on 2-3. They'll do bot lane 2-3. That's my shot in the dark guess. I think that's really likely what they'll do. And if they do something like that, then they can afford to ban... I don't think T1's banning Rakan or Jarvan against Weibo. I don't think it's happening. I think they'll have easy got champs into Rakan, and Missing's Rakan was probably his best champ ever. So that was just a target ban against JDG. Let me check their drafts against LNG, but I mean, Missing's Rakan is unreal. So those bans I think are dropped. What was LNG banning against T1? What was T banning? T1 was banning Xayah, Nico, Jax. That's fine. Xayah, Nico, Orianna on red side. Understandable. Xayah, Nico, Maokai. Okay, I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah, I would say Nico is a very, very safe ban from T1 against Weibo. 99% sure they're gonna do that. Weibo Gaming could ban Caitlyn on blue side. I think that's fine. So what I think will happen is T1 will probably ban Kalista. They'll probably ban Kalista, Nico. Maybe they'll do Kalista, Nico, Rumble. I think is something that T1 can do to be really safe. That's a safe bet. Because it depends. The last ban is dependent. So I think what Weibo will do is in a situation like this, they'll say, we'll ban Rel, for example. And if they ban Rumble, then they'll first pick Azir. And vice versa. If they ban Azir and they ban Rumble, they'll first pick Rel. And if they ban Azir and they ban Rel, they'll first pick Rumble. I think that's going to be the trifecta of champs that is decided on the last position of bans. That is something that's very likely. I think Weibo Gaming can expect Nico ban. I think you can easily expect Kalista ban, because if you actually watch the Weibo series, the only time that their bot lane actually looked like they were winning was when they got Kalista, to be honest. And Light looked really, really good on Kalista. So I would be a bit cautious if I was T1. If Caitlyn is banned, then Kalista ban is probably going to come out.
Let's go, man.
So yeah, I think I'm pretty confident with that draft. Then my question is Poppy open? Is Poppy open? Is Poppy open? And is Jarvan open? Because these are the layers, okay, in my head. Layer 1 is Azir, Rumble, Rel, which I think is going to be super high prio. Layer 2 for me is Jungle, which is Poppy and Jarvan. That's impossible to see. So what I mean by that? I mean that I think these will be the prio picks from both sides. Yeah, Renata will probably get slammed here maybe or something, depends. T1 will get it. You have to give up, right? Azir, Rel, Rumble will be tier 1 for first picks and target bans to trade with these two bans given on both sides. And then it gets complicated with Poppy Jarvan, because essentially what you're doing here as Weibo is you're leaving open Poppy versus T1. You're also leaving open Jarvan. Now, I don't know how happy T1 is about that. There is a situation where T1 last bans Jarvan, gives over Rumble, like they did against JDG, and then plays some kind of Azir draft, you know, if Rel's open here or something like that, and then it gets a bit weird. But then they're running into possible Zyra Rakans. Fuck me, this draft. Oh my god, this finals draft is going to be an absolute fucking apocalyptic shitfest. I think there's a chance. I think there's a very high chance. If this happens, if this draft happens, let's swap the sides real quick. How do I show you this with what my brain wants to say? How do I show you this with what my brain wants to say? How do I show you this with what my brain wants to say? If this happens, I think Faker might play Corki. I think there's a chance that on 4-5, Corki will be played by Faker for the first time this tournament. I think it's super likely. I think we might see Faker Corki this tournament. Because what's going to happen in this kind of draft is they're going to get Azir Jarvan with Rel, and Faker might play a mage into mage because of the scaling against Jarvan. He might play Corki, because what will happen is if they go 4-5, if they have a brain, they'll ban Akali or Sylas. And I don't think he'll play LeBlanc or Ahri with Rel. I think there's a chance he plays Corki. Random guess. That's my random shot in the dark surprise champ that gets pulled out. He's playing a lot of Akali in solo queue. He's playing a lot of Yone. A bit of Aatrox. Holy fuck, he's playing a lot of Akali in solo queue. Why is he playing Akali? The only reason he play Akali is if he knows he's playing into Azir or Orianna. That's the only reason he'd be playing Akali. So maybe he's confident on Akali, but I don't know. Faker Akali to me is not... It's not S+ tier. Faker's S+ tier is Azir, Ryze, Orianna, Nico. That's his S+ tier. Akali is not really super Faker. So if you bust it out, sure. Yeah, LeBlanc. So there's a small chance we get Corki. So my tier 1 for first picks is this. My tier 2 for what I'd be worried about for both teams is this. My guess on bans for both sides locked are these 4, I would say. With some flex on Caitlyn turning into Poppy and Caitlyn actually being open. Then I think this is where tier 1 comes in. So 2 bans are open. This is where Azir Rel Rumble comes in. If T1 bans Rumble, for example, well, Weibo will have first ban, right? If Weibo bans Jarvan, let's say, and T1 bans Rumble, then of course Rel first pick might come in, but then you're giving over Azir, and then Xiaohu's gonna have to play something into Azir, which is like Sylas or Akali, but I don't think Xiaohu wants to play Sylas or Akali, because I don't think Xiaohu is that good at it. The thing is, what you're doing is, mid is pinched because 2 mages are down, Orianna and Nico are down, sorry, and then there's only 1 mage up, which is Azir, which is gonna be a super pick for both sides. So the biggest question is, do you have something that you can play into Azir? If you don't, then you have to first pick Azir, you give this guy Rel, and what do you play into it now? Because Jarvan Poppy's banned, right? You're going to have to play Maokai or Sejuani. But if you look at Weiwei, his most successful champ, what was it in the playoffs? I remember it was... Oh yeah, he played the Bel'Veth game, and he played the Maokai game, which wasn't great. Looks like he's fine with Maokai, but then you're playing Azir, Maokai, double AP, then you have to like early rotate Aatrox or something, and then Zeus might get Jax, and then they might... I don't know, like Rakan is open in this draft. I don't know, maybe you go Zyra Rakan, drop jungle. I don't know. This draft gets fucking wild because there's jungle mid right now is everything. Mid, scaling mage, jungle, supportive champ, but you need S tier ones. Yeah, Zeus could even drop there if you blind Aatrox on 3 because he doesn't need to pick Jax here, so they could have done Rakan here and then play Zyra Rakan, or they can play like Renata, fucking, I don't know, Ophelia or something dog shit like that. Doesn't really matter, any bot lane. Because then you can ban Jax, but he still has Yone and Graves top, for example. I think both top laners will play Graves top easy. Has he been practicing it? He practiced. He played 2 games of it on this account. But this is his int account. What about? Where's Zeus' other account? What's Zeus' other account? It's this one. I think this is Zeus' other account. No, he didn't play on it in a month. I'm convinced he's playing Gravetop. God Thunder. Maybe he won't play Gravestop. Maybe he won't play Gravestop. He'll play J-Stop, I guess. I guess that's the difference. There's like... Zeus has J-Stop, and then the Shy has like Graves. So that's my expectations for draft. I think things won't change too much if you swap the sides. If you swap the sides, for example... If you swap the sides, I still think Weibo Gaming needs to ban Oriana on red side. I still think they might have to ban... This Jarvan ban's not happening, by the way. This was just a throw ban.
Can't wait for finals.
I think if you swap it up, Nico Kalista still might be banned by T1. Small chance they play for Kalista first pick, but I think that's safe to say. I think game 2, when T1 is on blue side, for example, is they will change to like target bans, right? And they'll change the target bans that worked in game 1. So, i.e., if Weibo, or let's say T1 wins game 1, they are happy with Nico Kalista ban, they'll keep them. Let's say Weibo wins game 1. Maybe they think they'll drop the Kalista ban, change it to something that worked in that game, like, I don't know, Weiwei pulls out Bel'Veth and they want to play against it for the rest of the series, like BLG did. Because I think BLG hit a Bel'Veth ban quite a few of those games now. So they lost game 1 to Bel'Veth, then they banned Bel'Veth. So that's the adaptation from game 2 that I'm referring to when they swap sides. And then they dropped the Bel'Veth ban. And then they brought the Bel'Veth ban back. And then they dropped the Bel'Veth ban. So it's very likely T1 maybe loses to a Bel'Veth on red side and plays a Bel'Veth ban out there. That could be Weibo Gaming's answer to this, right? If they do a Zir first pick and let's say they ban Rel here. And they get Jarvan, right? Then their answer to that might be Bel'Veth Aatrox, right? Or some dog shit. That might be their answer to AD jungler when there's this many junglers down, because Poppy's down, and so is Rel. They give Jarvan, they play Bel'Veth into it. That could happen really easily. And then we'll talk about a little bit of the 4-5s. So there's a lot of issues with Weibo's situation, where we'll ignore bans for now. The issue they have is if T1 do pick Caitlyn, they kind of have to do Ashe Varus no matter what. They have to. They have to do Ashe Varus. They don't have a chance. They don't have a choice, because if they don't do Ashe Varus, they have Ashe here or Lux, and both are oppressive. You can try and play some, I don't know. You can try and drop it and play Ezreal Karma, or you can try and play like fucking Varus Heimerdinger or anything. It's not gonna work. Why? Because what they've got here is they've got a Caitlyn flex, which is fucking annoying. That Caitlyn flex is dogshit annoying. Luckily, Kalista would be banned in that scenario, but if they blind Caitlyn, playing something like Aphelios Renata is going to be really hard, I think, because that gives them Caitlyn Ashe. So that Caitlyn 1-2 I think is annoying. The second thing that I think is annoying is, for bot lane, just to stay on bot lane a little bit more, is Crisp doesn't play. Can anyone guess? What doesn't Crisp play that's really bad? Which is going to hurt them. Yeah, Bard. He doesn't play Bard. Crisp hasn't shown Bard yet, which is kind of scary. Because the meta right now is immobile carries, similar to last year's Worlds, and Bard can be like a super big pocket pick. So there's no Bard. All there really is... How many Bard games does he have?
Let's go, man.
Does he have any Bard in his career?
Hope you're having a great day.
Okay, well... Jesus Christ, it's worse than I thought for them in bot lane. Jesus, man. He has no Bard. He has no Bard at all. Does Light have Senna? Does Light... I think he played Senna, didn't he? Did he play Senna? Does Light have Senna? He does have Senna, I think. Okay. Alright. They can't play Senna lanes. They can't play Bard lanes. I mean... To be honest, I think Weibo's kind of screwed for bot. I think they're a bit screwed. I think they're not screwed. They're not screwed, but they're gonna have to either A, have some pocket pick, like some kind of Ziggs support or some kind of psychotic champ, or B, they need to early rotate bot. And what I mean by early rotate bot is secure Varus Ashe, or secure Aphelios Renata, or secure Caitlyn Lux. Because I don't think you can give 1, T1 red side for support counter pick, 2, drop your bot lane as well, and then 3, give T1 early rotation Caitlyn and not address it, for example. You can't afford to drop bot lane here and do Bel'Veth top, for example, because then not only are you giving them red side counter pick, but you're also giving them 4-5 bans. So if they were to do this, right, and then ban out your fucking Renata and your fucking whatever else Crisp's been playing, which, like, I don't know, Heimerdinger, some dogshit champ, I don't know, and then they frick Ashe on 4, or maybe they ban Ashe and now you have to blind Ezreal Karma or something, I don't know. It's gonna be hard. So I think Weibo has a big problem in bot lane, which I don't think is anyone's surprise.
Yum.
Don't think it's a surprise to anyone.
Oh, that's big.
Watching about the Wukong pick as response to Jarvan, it's really good. I'm not going to put Wukong in these drafts because I put Wukong in all the T1 JDG drafts, and Kanavi only played it once when there was like so many good Wukong angles. But I think Wukong can be a turbo pick. I also think if these are the bans, Xayah Rakan can be open with Poppy ban. It's incredible, right? So actually, I'll put Rakan in tier 2 here for just for shits and giggles, and I'll put Caitlyn in tier 2 because what'll happen is with these bans, Caitlyn can be rotated, Rakan can be rotated, la la la. Alright, that's a lot of draft rent. TLDR, Weibo's fuck through bot. I think Weibo is fine against T1 through top. Zeus and Deshai I think are fine in terms of champ pool. Just gonna go champ pool here. I think it's even. Mid is the same as well. Xiaohu Faker is even. Weiwei Owner, completely even. I think both can play these support champs. They're all the same. Sejuani, Maokai, same shit, different toilet. Poppy Jarvan, same shit, different toilet. Get level 3, gank someone, pray it works. If it doesn't, sit in a bush and hope they grief. It's basically how it goes. I'm not talking skill level. Guys, I'm not talking skill level. Hey, don't say Faker and don't say I don't think Xiaohu's as good as Faker. I'm not talking skill. I'm talking champions only. Champion pool, I think they're overall pretty even. I mean, what do you want to say? Maybe Faker has a bigger champion pool in general, sure. But with the meta being Orianna, Azir, fucking Nico, I think they're basically playing the same champs. They're going to play the same champs. There's not going to be any crazy pocket picks. Maybe we'll see an Akali or a Sylas. Maybe we'll see a Talir or an Ahri. There's nothing crazy, you know. I don't think either of them will not have a response to what the other's going to throw at them. You know, maybe the craziest thing we could get, for example, is Faker will play Corki. Or maybe Xiaohu will play Sylas on 4-5 and Faker will counterpick with Cassiopeia. You know, something crazy like that. But mid lane right now is not that crazy. There's nothing... You don't even have to play too hard for push. Right now, I feel like mid lane is either utility, in the sense where you have good setup for your jungler that needs to play a carry jungler. So like Ahri, Vi, Nico, Bel'Veth, something good like that. Or Jace Maokai, for example. Or you're playing a mage, and you're fucking sitting there under your tower, you're farming, and you're going to one-shot everyone later. That's kind of what's going on with mid lane jungle meta right now. Alright, let's talk about gameplay a little bit. Let's talk about a little bit gameplay. So, if you watch T1's games, the number one interesting thing about what T1 does is what do they do every game when they're red side? What did they do every game they were red side that caught JDG off guard? They invade level 1, which I don't think they did in the 4th game because their level 1 was weaker. But there's an obvious pattern with T1 where if they're playing JDG tried to copy it. They even tried to copy it from game 2. TLDR, if you're playing, if you see in any of these drafts, or T1 on red side playing Varus, Ashe, Caitlyn, Lux, any of that dog shit, they're invading bot. They're invading bot and... Yo! Ardor, thanks for the 24 months of tier 2. Much love. 24 months, you're crazy.
Is Galio completely out? Zero chance?
Yeah, Galio's a trash champ. Galio sucks. So yeah, I think number one thing is level 1 invade. So they need to be really careful for that. I think both sides need to be careful. Maybe both sides will do it. But obviously T1's red side game 1. So how do you counteract this bot side invade? The problem you have is, especially if you're playing double ranged matchup bot, match mirroring each other, the issue you have
for finals. Let's go T1.
Is if you give up what happens is if you give up bot, right, and you can't stop them from invading, your bot lane is guaranteed fucked because you have to play a split map, which is not ideal. You don't want to play a split map ever when you're playing this matchup, because what happens is whoever gets the push wins. Whoever gets bot push wins, no matter what, right? So, Wukong's bot side, they can't push. Rel's top side is a split map, game's lost. Now, sometimes you'll see junglers do this, for example. Enemy invades, jungle gets pushed out. He does wolves, blue grump, bases, runs bot and tries to cover. That's very common. That happens. It's fucking risky though. You know why? Because if they don't pull the trigger on bot dive, or for example does this, covers. I've seen junglers even do wolves and then run around like this and level 2 sit behind them on a stack wave. It's a gamble. It's always a gamble. You have to trust that your bot lane knows whether or not they can get Dove 2v3 level 1. And if they say yes or no, if they say yes we can get Dove, we need you, they're stacking, then junglers will do something like that, you know, and they'll cover it. If they say maybe we can outplay, then junglers will full clear. For example, in this game,
I think Caitlyn is permanent ban for
Owner
WBG.
did wolves and then he ran to enemy
Guru
red.
is too good on it.
He had 2 options after that wolves. He had option 1 or option 2. So he probably said in comms something like, guys, if I go to his fucking red, are you going to get Dove? And they probably said, no, we can live.
Let's go, man.
And they did. They did live. If this bot dive went any different and they got 1 for 0 and got out like that, it would be perfect. Because look how fucked the game is. The game is doomed. That's it. JDG bot lane bases, they come back, the game's over.
What about Jace?
But luckily for them, Renata gets a double kill. Which changes the whole thing. Yes, AD still fucked, but that's great, actually. Not only is my jungler not fucked now, but bot is actually salvageable. So, yeah, that's a situation you have to be careful for, and that's why you won't see teams give up bot. It's a horror to give up bot. Imagine this game, they clean 1 for 0 dove them, reset, ran out back on the map, Kalista has 1 CS, Talia has mid push, gets level 6, and they just keep fucking you bot on Raptor respawn because they're stronger. You can't play the game. It's over. What'll happen is they'll push bot. Wukong will clear his camps, base, invade your Raptor respawn. Rel will try to match. She'll get pushed out by Talia and Ashe being able to move first. And your bot lane's permadiveable. The game's over. So it's not just, oh, we lost our red buff. It's the game's unplayable. So they butchered it. But a similar kind of thing happened. If you actually watch it. Sorry for skipping too much. The Wukong based, and then I think they run out bot. I don't really remember. I think they did try and play bot, but T1 got the dragon. Like, it was a complete mess. The game should be so much different already. And the fact that the reason, yeah, again, very simple thing. The reason they play these ranged bots for the push is, what do you get? You get easy dragon stack. What has T1 been fantastic at? This whole Worlds, T1's been amazing at getting dragons. They have been really good at it. If you actually look at it, T1 is getting a lot of the first dragons. T1 used to never do first dragon. They always used to drop it and play for Herald. But yeah. You don't want a situation like this where your AD carry Kalista is 0-1 with 6-3 CS, and that's why you don't give up the level 1 invades. So that's something they need to be careful of. Really, really need to be careful of. The Loreen Euphoria on the side. Yeah. Yeah. Now, these VOD reviews that I'm going to be doing are very raw. It's not like I've come into the VOD review today and actually watched the games again and then prepared something to say to you. So if I don't talk for like 30 seconds or a minute, I'm just skipping through to remind myself of random shit. Someone don't know. Wait. Could you explain why teams don't lane swap as a possible reason to invade? You can mirror action on the top lane and play for Rift. You can't lane swap. You can't lane swap in this meta. You can't. Top lane tower is way too tanky. They buff top lane tower. It's too tanky. Enemy bot will farm milk your tower. And all they'll do is they will keep this going, get more gold than you. Then they will fucking base on Herald timer and then match. And then the game's over because you're behind. But the only way you can lane swap right now is with Sion or if you have Jinx Tristana. Because Jinx Tristana are really good tower hitters. And they can actually negate the... Well, you need both, to be honest. But Jinx Tristana can actually negate the tower defects by having like attack speed in Tristana E to combat the tower hitting of a Varus, for example, right? All right, yeah, this T1 series Yeah, 369, Zeus, the Yone was good. What did T1 do in this game? Is this the game that they... No, this is the game that they won. This was the crazy game that they randomly won, where Guma does his hero plays. Let's go back a bit. Let's go to game 1. T1 seems super strong. Yeah, I mean, it's... Basically what you're looking at is you're looking at a T1 with better options in draft. Meta perfectly suited for their players and their playstyle. And them being even or favored in every lane or role. That's just the essence of it. But you know what else happened? Last year against DRX, the exact same thing was true. And I'm not saying that to like support Weibo, but I'm trying to say that to make you understand that sometimes those factors don't matter. Like coming into that finals, T1 had a much bigger champ pool. The only thing that DRX had up on them, I think, might miss some things, is Beryl was this big Heimerdinger player. All they had to do was cover that off, and they like DRX had pocket picks, you know, Zeka's Akali, Zeka's Sylas, Beryl's Heimerdinger, Kingin's Aatrox, Piosic's Kindred. They had like these pocket picks or like these power picks, whereas T1 could just play anything. T1 was supposedly favored in basically every role, especially jungle actually. And the meta suited them perfectly. So, you know, in a series where your bigger champion pools, for example, what do you do when Piosic plays Hecarim or Beryl plays Bard or Def's playing Kalista every game or whatever? Right? Then the champion pool doesn't matter anymore, because what you're doing is if I play these champs, you haven't either played against them in a while or you didn't expect that I can play them, and so I've gone off the script a bit, you know. So I'm not saying this to make it so to defend Weibo's chances. I'm saying it to say that these factors can sometimes be irrelevant.
Let's go, man.
XDD.
So I think the impressive thing about T1 is, one, Owner's glow up is unreal. And that's why I think you'll see target bans or denial picks against Owner, with Jarvan, Rel, Poppy being the 3 main ones. Their solo lanes are really good. Now, if you watch Faker the last 2 years, and I said this before, his biggest weakness, which is not a weakness, it's just the worst thing that he was, the thing that he was the worst at, which is not bad, it's just that he wasn't the best at, it was lane phase. And you would often see his laning be a bit weak. Actually, this tournament, his laning's been really good, I think, in my opinion. Their bot lane, the meta is great for them, and their team fights are unreal. Like, sometimes T1 would butcher team fights and be like really not on the same page. And sometimes you'd have the only clutch player being Guma. But to be honest, I think all of them have clutched it. I think you can find a clutch moment for all of them. Like that carry a Bardult, I actually thought on the live it was really bad. But to be honest, that carry a Bardult sets up this shockwave with this Relult. And Zaya's forced ult too. So that Bardult was really good. Like everyone's plays in these fights are good. Also, this Jhin pick, I don't know if we're going to see Jhin. I actually completely forgot about Jhin. Holy shit. I completely forgot about Jhin. I completely forgot. What else happened in this game? This was the game where Zeus gets super fed. This is the game where JDG's kind of out of it. Let's go game 2. It's hard to say about playstyles because right now I think the meta is very... So the way I see the meta right now is the playstyle... There's no team playstyle right now in the meta. The way I see it is if you have champs like Aatrox, if you have champs like Graves, if you have champs like Cassante, if you have champs like... I don't know what other carry top there is in this fucking meta. Rumble. And bot lane is playing range supports. TLDR, what happens is whichever ranged bot matchup has the most amount of vision and the most amount of jungle attention covering them is the bot lane matchup, in most cases, that can get the push, right? So even if you have Caitlyn Ashe against my Senna and I don't get the push, for example, if your jungler's top, you're not getting the push. Simple. So junglers have to find windows where they can be around bot the majority of their time, putting vision down so they can get the push, but also find windows to make sure their top lane can't get dove on stacked waves or are sitting in really bad lane states because they're playing champs that will need to be useful later on. Now, they're not playing... The jungle meta right now is very supportive, and so you can afford to waste time around bot for range supports, right? It's very hard, for example, let's say in this kind of game you're playing like a farming jungler. Let's say Graves, Nidalee, Evelyn, doesn't matter. It's horrible to play that draft with a range support. It is just horrible. What, you're full clearing on cooldown, playing for camps, while I'm sitting here trying to get the push. So, it's obviously natural that it's very fine for tank junglers to give up and play for sitting behind their bot lane. And mid lane is just mages. Now, the reason Azir is the most OP mage in the last 10 years is because he has a dash, he has mobility, he has playmaking with his ult, he has late game, he has lane phase, oppressiveness, he has fucking everything. It's disgusting. That's why this champ's so useful. So playing around mid becomes hard. There's not much to do. I mean, you can do the Azir, lane gank, whatever the fuck, sure. But the game is literally all about dragons. And I mean, you can see it. Maokai's meta, right? Maokai's meta, what's the most impressive thing about Maokai other than his ult? It's the fact that you can put fucking donkeys in these bushes and you can control the river to stop people walking in for dragon fights.
Let's go,
So the meta, TLDR, very dragon fight heavy. Make sure you're around bot to get the push. Top lane can be volatile sometimes, so you have to find windows to cover it. And mid lane's chilling. Mid lane's chilling. Mid lane's just fucking Azir, Orianna Azir. Sometimes you can get outlaned. For example, Faker destroyed Knight in Orianna Azir when he was Orianna. Then if you flip it around, Faker did fall a little bit behind, but didn't get punished too much as Knight got punished. And then what can you do with that bot push? You can move first. So the Kalista and the Senna can move to mid first. They can invade blue. They can fucking start dragon. And so you're on the back foot sometimes. I will say T1, for example, here, their TP plays have been really good. This TP play, I think this TP play is really good. JDG just outplayed it. I think, for example, Zeus thinks that Kanavi's dead, so he goes on Ruler and tries to get a kill. But Ruler, like, kind of just outplays. And, I mean, as much as he could have gotten a free kill on Kanavi and they could go 1-0, this TP play, the idea was good, but it turned into a 1-1, which isn't great. Oh my god, why am I, like, I have so much fucking air in my chest. But yeah, it's all been about dragon control. How is T1's... is there a stat here that I can use to, like, kind of think about? Average kills, dragons game. So dragons a game, they have 2.3. Dragons at 15, they have 1. No, they probably have higher at Worlds. Random guess. Yeah, 1.42. Because T1 never really fought the first Drake. They always fought the second Drake, which is, yeah, pre-15. So they actually average 3 dragons a game. 78%. 78%. So what does Weibo have? So T1 sitting at 78% dragons per game. And they have 1.5 dragons at 15 minutes. So they are obviously, like, contesting a lot of dragons. Let's see Weibo. They have 55% of dragons and 1.13, so they've been a bit behind on the back foot. Now, the only problem with this stat is it's hard to draw a conclusion because Weibo has played 5 more games in T1 and they've lost more games in T1, I would guess. So, obviously, like, it's a bit skewed in that sense. But, I don't know. I wonder if someone will take a risk. Is someone going to take a risk in this finals and say, actually, I'm not going to play range support bot. You can have Caitlyn Lux or fucking Ashe Varus or some shit like that. We're going to play Draven Blitzcrank or some psychotic shit like that. Like, is Guma just going to say, actually, you're playing Aphelios Renata? Cool, we'll play Draven Blitz. Would something like that happen? Is Light going to play Ziggs or something? Are they going to play something absolutely mentally ill like Jace mid, Ziggs, fucking Heimerdinger bot? Because if you look at T1's draft in game... Which was it, against LNG? Or was it against JDG? Yeah, here. This draft that T1 was playing against LNG game 2, that's a fucking hard draft to play. You know how hard that draft is to play? Jace, Azir, Varus, Ashe? Wait, this is not game 2. Wait, what? Was it game 3? Jace, Azir, Varus, Ashe with a Poppy? That's so hard to play. You know why? Because one, Poppy is trash against their champs. It's only good against Renekton, but playing Poppy into Orianna, Aphelios, Melio is horrible. And then you're playing 4 range champs that are easily vulnerable, immobile, maybe not Azir as much, against fucking Orianna. Like, these champs are hard. This is a super hard draft to play. The way you play this draft is you just run it down mid as 5, you group up, and you just try and, like, poke them, or, like, try and get control, and you play at range. So, if that's the case, and it wouldn't surprise me if Weibo plays some, like, dumbass draft, like, yeah, this isn't... Best way to look at this is very Aram-esque draft, if that helps. All you do is you just group up, throw your skill shots at them. If something lands, you just play front to back. If they don't, you need to be really careful you don't get engaged on. So you'll often see with this draft, for example, they'll go in and out so much. They'll go in, walk up, fish for something, throw a spell. If it hits, they'll play on it. If they don't, they'll chunk them, then they'll run away, then they'll re-engage after. And, like, it's really hard to play, and they will do this in 2 stages. Stage 1 is grouped up as 5. Stage 2 is if Jace can split push, but this game's a bit of an outlier because Jace is almost 100 CS up and is 3 levels up as well. But that's the idea. It's hard to play those comps if you're going to play like Ziggs, Heimerdinger, bots. So I'm not sure if they will do that. But yeah, my analysis of this series, to be honest, is if I was to be completely unbiased and completely just going with my brain, this is a 3-1 to T1. I think the only way Weibo will take a game, in my eyes, is if they shut down Owner or like have some really good draft around jungle, where I talked about Bel'Veth, for example, where they will have like, I don't know, the Rel Poppy band, they'll trade Jarvan for Bel'Veth and then play... Chat, of course I'm going to be supporting Weibo. Of course I will be. Do you know how fandom works? Why are you saying fake fan? Do you know how being a fan works? I will be supporting Weibo and predicting Weibo. I am doing this stream, this analysis.
Are you shaving your head if Weibo loses?
No. Chat, this analysis and this discussion is if I am completely and utterly just unbiased and being honest and true to what my brain thinks as a League of Legends analyst. For League of Legends passion, enjoyment, and fun from the game, and what I truly believe in my heart, I want Weibo to win. I do. But obviously my brain, I'm being just being completely like bias cap off. So how do I think Weibo wins 1 game? I think Weibo wins 1 game through topside. I think I will be very surprised. So as a T1 or a Weibo fan, number 1 thing to look out for is bot lane. How is bot lane going? Because if T1's winning bot lane, don't be surprised. If T1 has a better bot matchup, don't be surprised. But if T1 has a weaker bot matchup or is getting pushed in or losing bot, you might need to be a bit worried or a bit concerned as a T1 fan. Because if anything I think is guaranteed in this, series is T1 will have better bot matchup and bot push. And the only game that they won't have that is if they're playing Bard. IMO, they might give up bot. So yeah, it's hard for... I don't think it's so useful to look at the games and then say, this is how this team will play, this is how this team will play. Because both teams will play very similarly. It's extremely unlikely for like some kind of fucking spanner in the works. There's not going to be any super surprises in draft. I talked about them already. The biggest surprises you might get are like Corki or, one of the crazy jungle picks. Like Lee Sin, for example. Gilly said, Lee Sin could be a pick. With Poppy Rel being down, I can see like Jarvan being picked here. Let's say if you swap the teams around and they get Jarvan on a side. Owner, good matchup for Lee Sin, It's a good Lee Sin game, especially if they drop and they play bot lane here. Let's say they play their Ashe Varus with an Azir first pick or something. Maybe that's not the best draft for Lee Sin, but whatever. You get my point. Also, I don't know if they'll play the Ashe Varus into Jarvan. Let's say they play Zyrakan. I don't know, something dumb like that. Man. There's a very, very like valid Lee Sin angle.
Shave the head, lil bro, if Weibo loses.
There's also one thing that T1 was playing a lot in the regular season, or was it playoffs? Let me check. But you can be excited if you see this because they're one of the best in the world at it.
Pog, let's go, man.
WBGFDWLFG Lil BRO.
This shit. If they play this shit. If they play their Nico Nocturne dog shit. If Nico's open and you know, T1 drops an eco ban because they're blue side, for example, and they get a Nico first pick or something, just be excited, because what could happen is they might play some Nico Nocturne dog shit. And then that's when I think they might play some Draven dog shit as well. So that'll be really something really fun to see if it happens. They'll play something really crazy. That's another really crazy draft that you might see come out of them. What else is there to talk about? There isn't really much else to talk about. I think team fights are going to be everything. It's just going to be massacre of team fights.
XPP.
It's going to be... I think draft is going to be so important, though. That's why I'm like over-indexing a lot of time on draft, because you can see how hard draft affects games, you know. I think if you look at this Weibo series, bot draft, the last 3 games was terrible, like I said. But also the top matchups were really interesting. Like the Graves Aatrox matchup. I wonder what Zeus' answer is to Graves, because they need responses, right? What is what is Zeus gonna play into Graves? Off the top of my head, into Graves top. What used to counter Graves top? Wasn't it Vladimir? No, it wasn't Vladimir. What was it? Kennen? Nah, Kennen's. Yeah, Kennen can work. It wasn't Vladimir. It was yeah, I think Malphite could be fine. I saw, what about, I don't know, they could play something degenerate like Syndra top, Azir top, but they wouldn't do it. GP, will we see GP? I mean, I think Zeus played, I'm gonna say 1 game of GP this year. Yeah, he played 1 and he lost. Doran was the one playing GP. I do remember him playing GP though. But Doran was the one playing GP, finding success. I just hope that you completely forgot about Vi. I mean, Vi is in like the same plethora of Wukong. So my idea of like the way it works is, in my eyes at least, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but you have Jarvan, Wukong, and Vi, but Jarvan is like the S tier, and then they're like the A tier, or the A plus tier, you know. So like against these champs, these kind of champs, Jarvan is perfect, right? Vi is a bit more perfect into things like Kalista, for example, or Zeri. But basically their jobs are very similar. It's like mid-econ, good teamfight champs. You know, Vi is niche in the sense that it's one single target, but they all do the same kind of thing. But they all function really well into those champs, and like Orianna and stuff. But Jarvan is just the best version of them. And then you've got the other champs, which are like engagers, like Rel and Maokai and Sejuani. But like the AD lockdown junglers are, yeah, Jarvan, Wukong, Vi. I kind of like have them all in the same wheelhouse. Something we haven't seen a lot so far this Worlds, interestingly enough, is the Shy Cassante. Now the funny thing is, if you look at his whole year, he plays a lot of Cassante. We've seen 3 games of it. I think he played 1 against who was it he played against? The NRG games were fine, but he played it against G2.
Will be able
Was it G2? I don't know. He played it not great.
Play as much at Worlds.
But if you watch LPL this year, this guy, he plays Cassante only. Like, he was playing Cassante almost every game, was the Shy. I mean, look at that. This was their playoffs run. That was their whole playoffs run right there. So, yeah, it's funny to me that his Cassante has just disappeared now. I guess he's playing carry tops. We won't see Quinn ever again. He won't get Rumble. He won't get Quinn because he's not gonna pick it. He might get Aatrox. He might go Graves, and then I think that's when he'll start playing like things like Gnar and Cassante. But he's never doing Quinn again, I'm sure of that. Unless there's a Renekton blind. But I can tell you Zeus won't play Renekton. I don't know how much success he's had on Renekton in his career, but I'm 44%. I don't think he's going to play Renekton. Yeah, 36% this year. I don't know. I think Renekton is a bit of a... That champ is not really Zeus. It's not really a Zeus champ. I don't know. Doesn't really scream to me as a Zeus champ. Renekton screams more as like a bin 369 champ. So I think this finals will be one of the most exciting finals ever. I hope. It could be a 3-0 stomp and T1 could win. And then everyone will be really happy because Faker won his 4th and T1's got a championship. Great. I mean, I predicted T1 to win 3-0 last year. I thought this was the exact same situation. I thought it was over. It's done. But I hope it isn't. As like a league fan. As a league fan, I think if this goes to 5 games, it could go down as like one of the best finals in history. If it goes down to 5. Because a 5th game at Worlds is such a blessing. It is. Like 21, EDG Damwon, Game 5. T1, DRX, Game 5. It's such a blessing. I'm not cursing shit. The only reason it's not a blessing and you're saying no is because you guys fucking shit yourselves when it goes to Game 5. You can't even look at the screen because you're so nervous. Say true, I know it. That's why. That's why it's not fun for you. But those kind of feelings and emotions, bro, that's the pinnacle of like esports emotions you'll ever feel. Because you're so attached, but you're so afraid. And that's what makes like the beauty of the game. And that's where you get magic. That's where you get a Game 5 Gumayushi Baron steal. That's where like the magic happens. And that's where you just lose it. So yeah, T1 are in really good form. Weibo are in really good form. Weibo, I don't understand them. I love them. I've watched them all year, but I just don't get what's going on. I still can't believe they're in the finals. I personally don't even know how good they are still. I can't tell. Because BLG was destroying Genji. Genji was choking, but then Genji almost reverse swept them. And I was like, okay, that doesn't make sense. How is BLG destroying Genji who are choking? But when they're almost out of the tournament, they then start playing good again, maybe because they didn't have any nerves. But then BLG beat them anyway. So, is BLG that good? Because T1 destroyed BLG. And then BLG was destroying Genji, who was choking, but then almost lost to Genji, but still beat Genji. It's funny, isn't it? It's almost like Genji was like, oh, it's 0-0. Here's my nervous level on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm super nervous. We choke. Oh, we're 0-2. Ah, well, I guess we're out anyway. Just play for fun. We have no nerves. We win 2 games. Ah, well, we're on game 5. Okay, fuck, I'm nervous again. They lost. Is that what happened to Genji? Is that really what happened? And then, so T1 destroyed BLG. Then BLG beat Genji, who had some fucking roller coaster of emotion. And then Weibo beat BLG in a 5-game series. But they beat them in a 5-game series where 3 out of those 5 games, their bot lane was getting absolutely fucking intergalactically shafted. The only reason they won was because the Shy gapped top so fucking hard that, like, he was on the moon and Bin was on fucking God knows where, Jupiter. It was not even fair. But then T1's run is a lot more solidified. They 3-0'd LNG. But LNG was choking a bit, so there's a little bit of leeway there. They 3-1 JDG. Fucking... But how did they beat JDG? Well, they should have lost game 3. But Faker clutched it. Faker fucking clutched it. And so did Owner, to be honest. A lot of people remember that Faker clutch. But Owner fucking clutched that game. Really hard. Like, the only reason that they were in that game was because of Owner, IMO. So for Faker to make that magic happen, Owner gave him the layup, and then Faker hit the slam dunk. I don't know which dragon fight it was that Owner just like randomly clutches the whole game, but yeah. Oh, it was this one. Like, this fight is lost. I'm telling you, this fight is lost. 1, his team separated. 2, Aatrox can't join because Renekton's zoning him. 3, your primary engage is 1 HP basically.
XDD.
4, the dragon's almost down, so don't have timer. And like, this is an unbelievable engage. So Owner clutches it, then Faker clutches it. So, Weibo is winning by having parts of the team that are losing that are most important to the game, but they win anyway through like sheer dominance from the top side. And T1 is winning games that are lost through clutch, which is very fucking scary to winning 2 games through clutch.
Have you beaten Suika yet, Kleiner Bruder?
No, I haven't. Winning games through clutch
let's
is...
go, man.
It's crazy.
XDD Faker TSSK.
It's crazy. Holy fuck, I'm hyped for this series, man. I'm fucking hyped. But oh my god, man. I do think, now, I'm not going to take anything away from T1's win over JDG. Okay? I'm going to say that for a fact. Because I think a lot of people will take a comment and then they'll draw a conclusion out of it. And I'm like, for example, I don't have a garden in my house. And then someone will take that comment and say, so you hate nature and you don't like flowers. And it's like, sorry, what, bro, what the fuck are you on about? That's the thing that pisses me off. Now, T1 series was great. It was great. I'm gonna be honest though, I think Kanavi I think Kanavi had a little bit of chokey choke. He had a little bit of chokey choke in that series, okay? I'm gonna be honest. I think Kanavi chokey choked a bit, okay? That happened. I'm not gonna take anything away from Owner. I'm not gonna take anything away from Owner at all. I think LNG, Tarzan chokey choked. JDG, Kanavi chokey choked. A little bit. A little bit.
It's mama milk. Yum.
But
Oh, that's
you know what I don't think? What I'm trying to say by saying that, okay? What I'm trying to take from that is, I don't think Weibo has choked. I think they've been outperformed, but I haven't seen a part of Weibo where I'm like, huh, they're choking. The only one is maybe Weiwei a little bit. Maybe. Maybe Weiwei a little bit. I've seen them in some of the games and I'm like, oof. Oof. I don't think Xiaohu's choking.
Fuck,
I don't.
let's go, man.
I don't think Xiaohu's a choker. I just think he's fucking griefing. I think you can tell a difference between choking and griefing. I think you can watch it, and I think Xiaohu's just been griefing. He hasn't been choking. There's just been games where he's played bad. Like, you can visually see a player choking by the way they play and then just making the dumbest mistakes ever. Like, they're just making plays that are not there, or they're walking into fights they shouldn't do. Or they're trying to be the hero in a moment and trying to have a big super play, and then they just fuck the whole game up. But he's just playing bad sometimes. And if you watch the LPL, it was kind of the same in the LPL. In some of the playoffs games, he would like have moments where he would shine, but then there were moments where he's just kind of like not doing anything. So yeah. I think that's good. But yeah, T1 hasn't shown they choked. So hopefully they go into this finals and they just Hail Mary it and we get like a good series. I don't want anyone to choke because I think that the T1 DRX series, I don't think anyone choked up until Game 5 maybe. Where I think a lot of the nerves started to come in Game 5. That's why I love Game 5s. I think Game 5s are beautiful. I think that should have been... Yeah, the P06 smites were terrible. Yeah, Zeus choked Game 5, I think. But that's where Game 5... Can you imagine? Just like imagine the pressure. Just imagine... I know it's funny that we joke about people choking, right? But imagine Zeus, right? I'm going to put into context how crazy choking is, right? So, let's take Zeus. He's 18 years old. He's playing his first World Finals ever. He's on match point for a world title or being knocked out. He's got 25,000 people screaming for his team. He's playing a matchup that he thinks he can win. There's millions of people watching online. And he's like, he can feel the whole stage vibrating. And like, he has to win. Now, let me put that into context. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. But now let's look at Faker. Okay? By the time Faker was... I think Zeus is 19 now. Let's say Faker was 19. Faker had 2 world titles already. He won worlds when he was 17. 17 years old. Not only did he win worlds, but he fucking became one of the best players in the world, single-handedly, at 17, in front of 25,000 people, with millions of people watching online. So, the reason I'm bringing that up is like, not only is he like the nicest person ever, and he's like an icon to esports, but also like, how many players have you seen over the last 5 years that have been hyped up to be the best players in the world from their regions, and then they just fucking bomb out, and they just choke it, or they just make a mistake? That's why Beryl is another, yeah, good example. Beryl is another perfect example. This guy just rocks up to every World Finals. Some people didn't even think he was one of the best players. He just fucking rocks up. He doesn't give a fuck. He just picks Bard. He just picks Heimer. He's just winning. He's just chilling. Like, that factor in a player is something you can never measure until they're really tested. Until they're really put in that Game 5. That's when you see the greatest players of all time. That's really where you see it. That's why I love Game 5s. Because it really does, like, take a player and puts them through an emotional hell. And if they come out as the best player in the world and they win, they are just the greatest of all time. And that's why you can, like... look at this T1 roster and say like, wow, they're all so good. They are crazy. They undefeated throughout the whole region, and then they lose, and then you're like, what? How? That's, I mean, they're all young, right? And you can understand, like 2-3 years ago, these players were in an academy. Owner Zeus in T1, yeah, when he was fucking 17, 18, a couple of years ago, Birdle was the starter. He was the sub for Birdle, okay, bro. He was the sub for Birdle in T1 Academy. Now, he's fucking playing World Finals. And that transition is like a year or two. If you think about it. It's crazy. And that's why the Game 5s really like can get to you, because he's just a kid. So, yeah. Choke and pressure is a really... It's an impossible thing to measure. You can never look at a player and judge if they will crumble or not. They can talk the talk. They can say that they're confident. They can flame the enemy team. They can win a matchup in scrims against them. But you put them on stage, none of that matters. Your fucking trash talk doesn't matter. Your scrim results don't matter. It doesn't matter how good you are off stage, on stage, even in front of Swiss stage fans or quarterfinals fans. You go to a World Finals, that's it. That's where, because, I don't know, it's... that's why I think this game is just like... that's why there's beauty around the finals, you know? So that's why I think I'm really excited, and that's why I want it to be 5 games. There was one thing that someone wanted me to read on the Reddit before we finish up with the analysis. Someone did an analysis and they wanted me to read it. Here it is. Is there a part 2 for this? I just want to see some of his conclusions. I'll try and like skim through it. He's a leak content creator from China. His name is Dong Nanqing King. He analyzed it. Someone was extremely impressed by his in-depth analysis. He thinks he has a very interesting take, which I was touching on a little bit. He thinks that double AD carries are a trap in bot lane. Now, I agree to an extent, but it depends on the draft. Now, double AD carry bots, I talked about it a little bit, can be exposed a bit. Like, if you're playing Ashe Varus bot, you can get exposed by... Let's say you're playing Varus AD carry Ashe support. Very common thing. Ornn is a very good champion to that. Malphite can be a really good champion to that. Jarvan can be a really good champion to that. Nocturne Nico can be insane into that. There's champs that can make those champions just gone. Wukong can be really good. You know, these champs can just... Those 2 champs dead. Doesn't matter how much big your CS lead is. Doesn't matter how fatty your bot CS lead is. Doesn't matter. Boom. One ult, one mistake, dead, gone. You know, look at Faker's Azir play on the Varus. The Varus, he shuffles him into his team, dead, gone, useless. They don't have on-hit damage. What else is a bit difficult about these champs is if you're playing... Let's say you're even playing Sylas Varus Ashe, right? Your Baron take is terrible. You're playing Sylas and poke Varus. You can't do Nash. You can't do Nash on a 15-second window. You can't. It just takes too long. If you're not playing like Bel'Veth jungle or something. So what does he have to say? He says... The trap of double AD carry. During Swish, everyone came to the realization that hard engaged supports were performing terribly. Due to the abundance of AP carries and utility junglers, supports who lack items are easily CC chained and torn down by mixed DPS. Therefore, instead of engaging, supports would be focusing on peeling and responding to carries and pass the duty of engaging to the junglers. Therefore, it became protectors like Renata, Melio, and Tahm Kench. Very valid. We did see a lot of that. We saw Aphelios, Melio, we saw Kalista, Renata, Tahm Kench, Senna, and stuff like that. Yet, to my surprise, the supports who rose in popularity aren't the protectors, but also the lane bullies. So like Heimerdinger, Ashe, Caitlyn support, you know, stuff like that. So a strong early bot lane push is another solution towards contesting objectives. Yeah, we talked about that. You get bot push, you can contest Drake. It makes life a lot easier. Because what happens when you get bot push, it's very simple. All that happens is you get bot push, you fucking... What happens with bot push, your support can team up with your jungler easily, you can contest a Raptors more, you get wards here, and Drake starts become easy. Drake starts with vision are really easy. A winning bot lane does not only offer pushing and CS advantage, but also the upper hand and XP, forcing enemy recalls. These allow ally jungler to take dragon whilst avoiding skirmishes. If the enemy wishes to force a fight, they still have to face the disadvantage with low health bars. Their support doesn't have ult, they're chunked, they lost minions, they're down in gold, la 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 la, XP. This is a staple in the semis. The above summary is a general observation I had in my previous videos. The facade of double AD carry prominence. I used to... When Gumyushi was questioned on what he thinks about the AD carries in bot lane, he said, "Is this a little overboard? Although we were first to pick such a combination, we do not rate it highly." So Gumyushi said in an interview that as much as we're playing range support spot, we don't rate it that high. You can take what you want out of that. You can say he's lying. You can say it is one. He wants to hide strats. You can say he's being honest. Doesn't matter. JDG Ruler said that T1's bot lane excels with strong lane dominance. Therefore, we tried hard to counter it. Unfortunately, it was too late when we realized that we should not have focused on this. We tried to counter it. It's interesting. Didn't they play Alistar game 1? How did they try to counter it? They played Varus lanes. They played Varus Renata, didn't they? They played Xayah Alistar. That didn't work because they played it. Then they played Kalista Senna. That kind of worked. That worked. Then they played Varus Ashe, which I've been talking about a lot. That obviously was a game lost because of Faker's play. And then they went for Zeri Lulu. So I think what JDG did there was they tried engage support, didn't work. Pushing bot worked. Game 3, pushing bot should have worked. Lost the clutch. Game 4, we're on match point. We're going to lose. I'm ruler. Let's play Zeri Lulu. We played it fucking... I don't know how many times they played Zeri Lulu throughout the LPL this year. But every time they played Zeri Lulu, it looked like they were on fire. It's possible that there's never been double AD carry set of this meta all along. I want to see where he says, I mean, when check champions carry has been using, although throughout the whole knockout stage, other than Senna, he's only picked 3 champs, Renata, Ashe, Bard. Once I saw the Bard, I immediately had a eureka moment. Like I previously mentioned, the performance of hard engaged supports have been terrible. They are easily killed. Keria has never given up on the power of supports to pick people off. True. If you watch Keria's Bard game... What game was it? It was game 4. Or it was game 1. I would be very careful about that Bard. Actually, is Bard worth banning on blue side instead of Poppy? That Bard is a problem. You know why that Bard's a problem? Because Keria plays Bard to engage. And it's fucking annoying. The amount of times I've seen this guy just run up mid with his portal and just start, like, fucking with you is... I don't know which game it was, but I think he did it about 2 or 3 times. What he'll do mid is he'll just tunnel through mid. Like this. This is what he'll do. Look. Does this look like a losing position to JDG from their vision state? No, it's not. Bard's clearing a ward, Rel's over here, and they're clearing mid wave. What does he do? This is a game state where you're down 6k. Sure, I get it. But all of a sudden, I'm about to catch mid wave. Enemy Bard is in my face, chunking my Alistar, who then gets Jhin W'd. Now he kind of has to ult, but now he's ulted. Now they're going to get a free tower. And you think it's over, but it's not because they're chunking this Alistar down still. And then your tower's gone. And that's what he does with his Bard. This is one example. I think you can skip through to a lot of the Bard games that Keria has played, but he'll constantly do this on cooldown over and over. And he'll throw Bard ults and get your spells, or he'll tunnel. Like, look at this guy. Rulers, they're pinging, let's make a death brush here. How does Ruler join? He can't. There's a fucking Bard just staring at them. He hits another Q. Now they've got another engage. And now they're kind of forced to go in JDG because otherwise Knight's going to have to ult or he's going to die. And now they're fighting 4v5 because Aatrox has TP and Bard ult. If Bard ulted there, hit Guma, I think Guma, I don't know if he's living. He would get hit by Bard ult now. He's probably going to die. But how does the Akali and the Vi get out basically, right? It's hard because if they get out, the fight's over. I don't know. This Bard champ is so fucking, I don't know. And now they've won the game, right? Because this Bard is running around in my fucking face and I can't do anything about it. So this Bard might be a really annoying champ to play against because Crisp doesn't play it, right? We talked about it. Bard can not only catch using his R in mobile carries, but he can help ally carries through portals. True. It all makes sense now. Double AD carry is but a surface level observation. The lane power is only a bonus of Ashe. Even the Varus pick, which Gumushi loves, has only been paired with Ashe for 1 game. The Varus Ashe combo is not a rigid combo, and Varus R has the function of catching mobile carries. True. Varus Ashe What you do on mid waves is Ashe has a low ult cooldown. What you'll do is you'll throw Ashe ult on a mid wave, hit the enemy carry, get his cleanse, and now they can't contest mid waves because they have a Varus, right? Yeah, it's very, very good stuff. These are picked by T1's response. In contrary, looking at the BLG Weibo game best of 5, they're obsessed with contesting Ashe, that she's first picked, yet the deciding factor was still the top side. In the 2 games Weibo Gaming lost, they had a Heimer and a Lux support, extreme supports that have no backup plans. 0-4 in one game, 0-5 in another. So what he's essentially saying is he thinks that the only reason that bot push is happening right now is because people seem to think it's for bot push, but actually it's for catching off the enemy AD carry. And what that does is it unlocks a lot of things, because you can, do the Bard thing, you can do the Ashe contest on mid-wave. Whereas Heimerdinger Lux that can't actually make picks aren't that useful. Mid-push doesn't do anything if you can't make picks. So will Heimerdinger Lux even be played? Now, Caitlyn Lux can be played, sure, but you can't blind Caitlyn Lux if Varus is open, Ashe is open. The whole reason Caitlyn Lux is good is they play off push, they don't play off picks. So yeah. That's interesting. To this, I have great worries about the ban picks surrounding the bot lane of Weibo Gaming in the finals. Yeah, that's what we just talked about. If Weibo Gaming doesn't realize that double AD carries a trap and force picks like Heimer, Lux, Caitlyn, they will just get endlessly caught out by carriers Ashe and carriers Bard. I think his conclusion is really good. His conclusion is support champs are for picks or for roaming. They're not for push, not just for push. And if they're only for push and they don't have any pick potential, they fall off and they can't provide anything to the team. I mean, think about it. What we just talked about. These champs in team fights, what do they actually do against Rumble, against Akali, against fucking Maokai ult? They can't do anything. So I think he has some really good points. I agree with a lot of that. And that's why he thinks that Weibo's bot lane will be exposed. So, yeah, it's been a while since we've done Analysis Hat. Just full focus on the series. Hopefully this brings some overview. I think he has a very good point about bot, and I've said this about top before, but I'll say it here again. Now, top lane, some people have said before, if they're playing Graves, and if they're playing Aatrox, and if they're playing Jax, why don't you play through top? Well, because you have to play through bot. But top laners have a different role. In times past, when you played these carry champs top, you would want jungle top. Why? So you can get them ahead. Why? So they can split push. But that's not the meta. What's the meta? It's team fights. So what do? You leave them on an island. How does top lane interact with the game right now? If you're playing Aatrox or Jax, and they have Varus or Caitlyn or Ashe, right? If these 2 champs can get access to these 3 champs, they're all dead. They are all dead. They are just dead. So top lane's job is not as much as snowball through this lane. It's as much leave them on their own. If they're 2 items in the mid game, fine. If they're scaling, they're fine. If they're even, they're fine. Why? Because their impact in fights will be really heavy in having kill pressure. Alternative angle is pick Ornn, like the Shy did. Why? Because he can left on his lone, lose the lane a little bit, doesn't matter. He presses R. So top lane is not as much like they have to kill hyper carries anymore, but they're actually just there to fuck with the mage AD carries. So yeah. Hopefully that helped a lot. And then mid will play mages, jungle is supportive junglers, and yeah. Obviously the biggest, we've been over it so many times, the biggest issue Weibo have is bot lane. So like I said, if you see T1 bot lane getting pushed in, or T1 bot lane not having pick champs, and Weibo having it, then I think that Weibo have an issue. But if you see the flip side, then T1 are in big trouble, because there should not be a single game where T1 get outdrafted in bot. There shouldn't be. They have way too big of a champion pool to be able to get outdrafted in bot. The only way they do that is if they blind pick some random dogshit champs. But there's definitely some champs, like we talked about, that are tier 1 and tier 2 that need to be considered. Because I wouldn't be surprised in a draft like this if, for example, let's ignore the Bard. Don't sleep on T1. Don't do it. If T1 gets Xayah Rakan, doesn't matter in which order, on either side, that's a problem. Because you can look at T1's Ashe and T1's Caitlyn and T1's Renata, T1's Jhin. If they get Xayah Rakan, that's fucking scary. That's really scary. T1 Xayah Rakan is one of their best champs. They just haven't played it this tournament. I don't know how often Rakan or stuff's been banned with or against T1. So banned against T1 is mostly Poppy, Nico. Oh, let's wait. Caitlyn, Rumble, Renata, they've banned Rakan 50% of their games. They haven't played a Rakan game yet, but they can. That's the fucking scary pit. We haven't seen yet Karius Melio. They can play Sen and Ela. So yeah, I would be a bit afraid. I would be a little bit afraid. But yeah, chat, that was my rant about analysis. If you have any questions, I would love to do like some questions maybe. I don't know, you just got hit by ads, I guess. That's annoying. But we can make some more discussion. It's hard for me to just keep going right now because I think there is a lot covered. I actually don't think T1 has shown anything special so far. Depends what you mean by special. Depends what you mean by special. Gameplay-wise or draft-wise? What do you mean by that? Gameplay-wise, they've shown a lot of things that are special. They've shown a lot of special stuff. Okay, draft. I think they have. I don't think they've shown anything special because nothing is special when it comes to T1. Does that make sense? Are you surprised that Keria can play Sen and Ela with Guma? Are you surprised that Keria's playing Bard and he can play it? Is it surprising? Is it surprising that they can play Jhin? That's why it might not feel special. What level? I feel like with certain teams you have different levels of special. If Weibo Gaming pulled out Bard, like let's take the Graves example. They pulled out Graves first time and it was insane, right? Unreal, crazy. T1 pull out a Varus lane or a Jhin or a Bard lane and they smurf. Cool, it's not that special because I kind of knew that they would probably play well on it. The level of special is different. I guess if they played like Senna Cho'Gath and then they fucking destroyed their lane and got every dragon. I guess that's special. Is that special? I don't know. It depends what you mean by special. How high prior was Jace? Yeah, Jace is an interesting one. Jace is like Zeus's pocket pick. It's similar to like the Guma, Keria, Xayah, Rakan. You know, it's their best champs. Zeus could pick Jace whenever he wants. He could pick Jace in a lot of games. It's just a case of if he wants to and if it's a good angle. He's always got it in his back pocket. He's probably going to play Actually, you know what? I don't think Jace is Zeus's best champ. I think Gnar is Zeus's best champ. I think Gnar is his best champ. This guy's Gnar is the best Gnar I've ever seen in my life. I don't think Jace, even though he has a high win rate, I think Zeus's Gnar is absolutely mental. The fact that this guy, you'll often see Zeus do this in some series. I don't know if he did against KT. Yeah, he did. So here against KT, for example, they're up. It's, what is it? It's game 5. What does Zeus play? He plays Gnar. He always does this. If you see the series go the length and Zeus is up and down, you might see him just pick Gnar. Because he does this in series where like things are a bit sketchy. You know, they're 1-1 against Genji, he'll pick Gnar. Like, he'll always pull out Gnar when he needs comfort or if they're, like, in a really intense game. I feel like that's his go-to. That's his really go-to champ. What if Crisp plays Nautilus, Melio into Bard? Okay, Crisp can't play Nautilus, but he might play Melio. That's valid. But the thing is, how do I describe this? Bard won't be blinded. So Keria won't play Bard into Melio, I think. Unless they're playing like Aphelios or Orianna Bard. Maybe he thinks it's good. But yeah. What times do you not want to see prioritized in draft? I don't want to see... So what do I think could be useless? I don't want to see... Let's play player specific. I don't want to see... Let's do mid lane. I don't want to see Sylas or Akali for Xiaohu. I don't want to see that. Or Yone. I don't want to see any of that dog shit. I don't want to see Crisp start to play hook champs. I don't want to see any kind of Ziggs shenanigans or any degenerate, like, psychotic bot lane champs for Guma Keria, because I think these guys, like, are so good that they should not be playing these things. I don't want to see Zeus Renekton. I don't want to see the Shy Renekton either. I think Renekton just needs to die. I don't want to see Alistar from either of these players either. I don't want to see any engaged supports from these players. The only melee supports I want to see is maybe a Tahm Kench or a Rakan. Yeah. Owner Maokai. Yeah, Owner Maokai, actually. Owner Maokai, that doesn't sound... that resonates badly in my head. Yeah, Owner Maokai. Let's not get Owner Maokai. Something about Owner Maokai, just... Okay, the reason his win rate on Maokai is low is because of... I'm going to say it's because of the Poby incident. It's my guess. I don't know how many of the Poby incidents hit his Maokai, but still, yeah, his Maokai is not my favorite. His Maokai is not my favorite. Oh, Oh, look at Owner Lee Sin. That's what I want to see. I want to see Owner Lee Sin. Owner Lee Sin is... he's insane on Lee Sin. Maybe best Lee Sin in the world. I think best Lee Sin in the world, Owner. I mean, Canyon Lee Sin is really good. Canyon Lee Sin is really good. But I would say Owner best Lee Sin in the world. It's his most played. I don't know how many games Canyon has on Lee Sin. I think he just pulls it out. I mean, look at him. See, this year he's 8-0. Is it his most played? Yeah, it is. 83 games, 73. I think Owner, Canyon, 2 best Lee Sins in the world. Next to Caedrel. Stop saying cope. Weibo Gaming might get more blue sides this final. I think T1 will alter their drafts a bit to adjust their red side. Yeah, exactly. That's a very valid question. So basically, Weibo have side selection. They choose blue, right? Now, if the series is ping pong, where Weibo wins on blue, T1 wins on blue, Weibo wins on blue, T1 wins on blue, then obviously it's tough for T1. So they'll probably prep more. Like, I don't say they'll prep more red side, but they'll probably have, like, they're obviously gonna prep blue side a shit ton too. But yeah. T1's ideal scenario is anyone's scenario is you beat Weibo game 1 on blue. If Weibo loses game 1, there's a very high chance Weibo says, you know what, we'll take red side. And that's when things could go very downhill. So game 1 is really important. If Weibo lose game 1, it's interesting though, because didn't T1 pick red side in their games? It's funny because there's two takes coming out. Like T1 was picking red side, weren't they? Against JDG, they were picking blue. JDG was blue, but LNG, they were picking red. Or like they played red 3 games and they won 3 red games. So yeah, they were picking blue against JDG. Yeah, LNG chose blue. You're right. Right. But they won 3 games on red. JDG, yeah, they chose blue against JDG. Yeah, true, valid. True, valid, true. I think Ryze will be picked. Now, Ryze, the only time you'll see Ryze is into Sylas blind pick. Maybe. But then you still have champs like Casio. Ryze is not that great. Ryze is good into like Vladimir, TF, Sylas.
Big finals pace.
You know. But it's not good into mages because he gets outranged way too hard. Yeah, it's good into Greg Astats or Kennen. That's why it's played top. I think Weibo Gaming would beat BLG if they started red side. Yes. I think the reason I say yes is not cope or biased. I think the reason I say yes is, here's my reasoning. Weibo Gaming had a better plan in Game 5 than BLG, regardless of side, because they were opting into Ornn to match this double range bot, and they were playing pure teamfight scaling. And I think that plan was better than BLG's plan, regardless of the side. Will we see a Z pick? No. Tristana is good against Ori and Azir. It's not that good. It's not that good. It's not amazing. You know, it can work, but it's so risky. Tristana's a champ that can fall behind, and it's fucking useless. And Azir can always push her back. Like, your biggest advantage as Tristana is level 1 to 5. After that, like, Orianna can farm from max range. Azir can kind of farm max range or play a bit safe. It's not super great. You know, Syndra can be picked if you blind it. I think Aatrox will be 100% pick Ben. Yeah. I think it'll be close to 100% pick Ben. It'll be close to 100%. No melee sports that include Rakan Thresh? No, it doesn't. It does not include Rakan. I think it does include Thresh is not going to be played. The only time Thresh will be played is like if they're playing some kind of a Phelios lane and the enemy team has Jarvan and their enemy team has like Leona or Alistar support. Maybe if they're playing like Jarvan Alistar, Jarvan Rel, Jarvan Leona, and you have a Phelios, maybe they'll play Thresh, but I don't know, I doubt it. Anyway, alright, I'm gonna head off because I gotta go. So tomorrow the stream might turn on, okay? Ignore the stream, ignore it. If the stream's on, ignore it. It's probably me doing tech checks. I also wanted to do a quick thing. As always, don't forget to go to Displayed.com/Caedrel. Displayed are really easy to mount metal posters. They're very simple. I have some in my house. You stick something on the wall, put a magnet on it, and you put the metal poster on the magnet, and it stays there. There's no screws, there's no drills. It doesn't destroy your walls. I used them before we got sponsored. It's our only sponsor during Worlds. It's our only sponsor. You're all probably spamming Pog off. Yeah, I know. It's our only sponsor during Worlds that we have, and they've been great. And they're going to be sponsoring till the end of the year. And there's also a Black Friday sale, I believe. Black Friday promo is starting tomorrow. You can get 1 or 2 posters off for 35%, 33 to 4 posters off for 39%, and 5 more posters off from 44%. I have a few collections if you want to go to the link below. There's League of Legends posters, Elden Ring posters, World of Warcraft posters, Peaky Blinders. There's basically anything. You can get posters for almost any gaming film, basically. And they're really easy to set up. And they're really cool, and they brighten up the room. So yeah, you can do code Caedrel if you want to get a poster. Code Caedrel. We might get a custom red poster, which will be cool. But yeah, you can get them on your wall. Code Caedrel. You can click the link below in the stream. You can do !Displayed. But yeah, shout out to Displayed for sponsoring the stream. Everyone write PogChamp Displayed. Right, PogChamp Displayed. PogChamp. Pog Champion. Code XCD. Shut up. Alright, chat. So yeah, don't forget. I've said this to everyone as well before, by the way. So the stream, quick thing, the stream for the World Finals begins at 4 p.m. because they're going to do a 1-hour countdown. So this is in Korean time. But we're going to start the stream at 3:15. So the opening ceremony is at 5 p.m., which I think is 9 a.m. Germany time, for example, Europe. But we're going to start the stream 1 hour, 45 minutes before opening ceremony. So we're going to have an hour to chill. I don't think there'll be anyone in the crowd, so the camera might have not much of a background. But I convinced Riot that we could chill for an hour, talk about the games, hang out, do the Reddit checks. Then the show will start. We'll watch the first hour of the show. We'll watch the opening ceremony tomorrow, on the final, sorry. And then we'll watch the finals from the venue, which is going to be mind-blowing, bro. We're going to watch the finals from the venue. So we're going to have the crowd behind us. We're going to have... We're gonna have the crowd behind us. We're gonna have the teams behind us. We're gonna have all the noise. It's gonna be fucking electric. It's gonna be mental. It's gonna be mental. I said it on Twitter, but I think whoever wins this finals, I'll be happy. I think there's magic around T1, right? They just deserve it. They deserve it. They deserve a title. They've been grinding for years. Seeing Faker get his title will be in person. Will be like sick. I don't know. I think a lot of fans will be crying when Faker gets it, if he does, which would be insane. But I also want Weibo to win, and I'll be supporting the Shy. I will be backing the Shy. I'll be wearing the Shy jersey. I'm staying loyal to my boy. As much as I love T1, I love Faker, and I think they deserve it. And I wish all the T1 fans all the best, and I wish good luck to T1 and stuff like that. I will be supporting Weibo. So yeah, we'll be streaming with the Weibo jersey. I think if I have a Weibo jersey on and Weibo wins, I don't know how I'm getting out of that arena, so that'll be fun. No, I'm kidding. I think all the T1 fans are understanding, which is really nice of them. So yeah, and the stream won't be too degenerate. I'll be very degenerate if Weibo starts winning and there's big team fights. I'm going to be like off my seat losing it because I can't help not get invested, but I will not be disrespecting T1 at all. I'll be talking about the game, how it's going, what's going on. And yeah. It's the grand finals. I don't just want to ignore the game and just wait for Weibo to win a fight like we normally do. I'll be very... I want to show love for both teams because I think they earned it and they both deserve it. And I want to celebrate it. I want to be very on-screen and focused. Disrespecting G2? Yeah, I mean, the reason we did the G2 thing was because it was just a Swiss stage game, right? It didn't have that much impact. It was funny. It was content. But now it'll be loyalty to the Shy, but also... we can be serious business. Serious business, boys. You know the drill. But, hey, chat. You know what's going to happen, right? You know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. We're... Another day, another dollar. Do you remember when I did that tweet? Where was it? Where was that tweet? Do you remember this? And everyone doubted it? time to smoke the doubters. Another fucking time, Weibo's winning this series and going to the world final against BLG. No one believed me. No one believed me. 1% chance, 99% face. You sure about that? Holy cope. BLG 3-0, little bro. I've dealt with that shit all year long. All year long, and I'll deal with it again. I will deal with it again. Alright. It's time for chicken dinner. And there will be... The world's next stream will be the world's final stream. Don't be a degenerate in the test streams tomorrow if they're going live. The next big stream is the World Finals. Thank you for coming with me on this journey throughout the whole World's co-streams. It'll end with a bang on Sunday. It's going to end with the biggest fucking bang ever. And yeah, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone coming out for them. Whether you're out for the co-streams or you're out for the Caedrel streams, I love you either way. And I hope people enjoy the Caedrel streams, even when they're not co-streams. Because there's going to be a lot of them. The pace is going to go intergalactic afterwards. I can tell you that for the fact. We're going to go out of this world with the pace. Love you all. Shout out to everyone who came out. See you guys on the finals co-stream.